SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr. My guest today is a pillar of the comic book community, and I have been trying for weeks to get this guy on my channel to interview him on 10 Questions. Not only is he brilliant, he is strikingly handsome. He hangs out with a group of people called the Usual Suspects, and he is by far the coolest one of the three. Welcome, everybody, to 10 Questions from the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel, Jimmy Don Kerr. What's going on, fellas?
I think you forgot to say something about your guest's ego.
Yes, my guest also has a very large ego. He does not lack in self-confidence. In his mind, he is DJ Lynx. So, yeah. So it's my 25th episode, guys, of 10 Questions. And to kind of commemorate that, I thought it was time to maybe jump in the hot seat myself. And who better to have on to interview me than my brothers from another mother, the Usual Suspects, Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, and Jason Slotted Up 503, a.k.a. Ringo,
baby. Peace and love, man.
I'm loving it. I told Jason, Gary B, before you jumped on, I said, man, you look great. Like that's almost a really good look for you.
It is a good look for him. I thought so too when I saw him.
Well, we'll see. I'm just glad I don't look like Abraham Lincoln anymore.
Well, the mustache is starting to come back in. Really, I've kind of grown accustomed to it. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I've grown accustomed to it too. I wish it would come back.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on to 10 Questions and to put me in the hot seat and ask me the question. So I guess let's just get started. So whichever one of you wants to fire away, go ahead.
Gary B.
Sounds good. So Jimmy, the question I got for you first is: now you've been doing this for a year now. Just about, right? Or a little over. So what's the biggest change you've seen or made on your channel since its day one launch?
So since the day one launch, I mean, if you guys remember, when I first started doing videos, I was doing Funko Pops. I was showing you all the trading cards that I bought. I was opening BAM boxes, Zobi boxes, comic book mystery boxes. I mean, pretty much any box that I could find, I would buy and open. And I think we all probably go through something similar where Absolutely. When you first start, you're just buying everything, right? You're so excited. You just buy every mystery box that you can find to open. And, since that time, I've kind of, with this show, 10 Questions has been the biggest change. It was an idea I came up with. I actually ran it by you guys to see what you thought. And you were like, yeah, dude, try it. And it's kind of become the flagship of my channel, and it's the thing that I look forward to doing most every week. I've also, started doing the show on Tuesdays, the books that I'm looking at, to pick up for the week. And then I'm opening usually a mystery box or an AOK or something on Mondays. And I was going every single day of the week. I was going at least 5 days a week, and I've had to cut that back just because of my real life. I've had to cut that down to about 3 days a week right now. I'm hoping I can get once I get these offices I got going open, that I can kind of get back to 5 days a week, and I've got some other things planned. But that's really been the biggest change in my channel, is going from just opening everything to primarily comic book content, and then almost really kind of going away from the mystery boxes and, trying to take it in the direction of 10 Questions and that kind of content.
Yeah, good answer. I mean, yeah, we all bought. I was the same way. I bought tons of mystery boxes. Everything I could get, I would buy. And I myself have trying to cut my stuff down is, to not just mystery boxes, because it gets expensive and it kind of gets boring after a while.
Right.
It really does.
And it's a feeling out period when you're first getting started and you're kind of looking for a direction. And
Absolutely.
That's something easy you can do, something you can grow comfortable doing. It's kind of like the phase you go through to get used to being in front of the camera.
Yeah,
exactly. Because that was really weird. While I do a lot of public speaking and I talk to people a lot, during the week, as far as meetings and, giving presentations and things like that, I do that stuff a lot. I'd never really been on camera before. And to essentially sit in a room and talk to yourself is kind of weird.
Yes.
When you get started, it's really weird. And so, when I first started, I joke a lot because my daughter would film me. She would actually sit and film me, and she would edit my videos. That's why my early videos are much better than my current videos because she would edit all of them. But in that time, kind of got a fixed camera set. I edit my own stuff. But yeah, it's been a true learning experience. I'll say that.
Oh, for sure. All right, Jimmy. So my question number one, and this is going to dive more into Jimmy Don Kerr and Jimmy Don Kerr's, outside YouTube life. Let's say if you could spend one day with any celebrity, who would it be, and what would you guys do?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm not like I don't like fawn over celebrities, right? Like I don't have like an actor that I just want to hang out with. If I was going to hang out with anybody, it would be a musician. And it would be James Hetfield from Metallica. And I would go ride motorcycles with him, even though I can't ride a motorcycle. Maybe he would let me ride on the back. But he also likes muscle cars, so could ride around in one of his muscle cars. And then I would really just like to go listen to Metallica do a sound check, or listen to them rehearse or listen to them play music, because I am a huge music fan. I love movies too, but there's not like as far as like an actor or a real famous person I would really care to hang out with. I'd rather hang out with you two, than hang out with somebody, that's ultra famous. But if I had to pick one, it would be James Hetfield from Metallica, hands down.
See, that surprised me. I thought you would go sports.
I was thinking that
no,
too,
I mean, there are sports. Well, there are sports figures, but again, I don't like if I could meet Michael Jordan, that would be awesome, right? Like he's my favorite basketball player of all time. But if I never meet Michael Jordan, I don't care. It's just not something that I necessarily aim to do.
Not on the bucket list.
It's really not as far as, but if I could hang out with James Hetfield, I would drive right now to California. If I could do that, I would stop this interview, head to California, and go hang out with Metallica. That's exactly what I would do.
Nice.
Good answer. I love Metallica. And
yep.
Great answer.
All right, so for my next question, we're going to go back to your personal life a little. And it's also kind of reflective of the first question I asked you. So having this YouTube channel now for a year, how has it affected your personal life? Has it affected it in a more positive way? Has it helped you make more positive changes in your personal life? Or has it just made your schedule more harried than ever?
Well, both. I mean, like my schedule is pretty hairy as it is. And, trying to find time to fit in recording videos and reading comic books, so that you can talk about them on your channel it's a labor of love. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it can be difficult at times, but it's a lot of fun. As far as my personal life is concerned, how it's affected me personally, it has just improved my life in a way that I just didn't know that it needed to be improved, because you guys know this about me. Other people may not. I work a lot.
Yes.
And my entire life is scheduled around my kids, right? So my secretary makes my schedule around my kids. Well, now she's having to do the same thing for YouTube so that I have time, to actually work in. And she thinks I'm crazy, by the way, Nancy, if you're watching. I know you're not, but if you are, she thinks I'm nuts, and she thinks these two guys are nuts as well.
Well,
he's right about us, for sure.
For sure. But no, it has been a real positive change, Gary, as far as like there was a piece of me that was missing that I didn't know was missing. And, I don't have a ton of friends, as far as, because I work. My friends are my family, my wife and my kids, my mom, my sister, the people that I make sure that I spend time with all the time. And then my best friend, his name's Clayton Wells, the guy I grew up with. We have season tickets to Kentucky football. He's been my best friend since I was a kid. And that was fine with me, right? I'd work all day, come home, I'd talk to a few people, and that was fine. But doing the YouTube journey, getting to meet you guys, and I know we say this all the time, but getting to meet you two, you guys are two of my best friends in the world, and I didn't even know you existed a year ago. And we don't live anywhere remotely close to each other, but I feel as close to you guys as I do anybody that I know. And that has been a real positive change for me. Now, the work and the drive as far as to do the channel, that's just who I am. And that will always be who I am and the way that I approach it. But as far as, and I don't mind the work doesn't bother me, the work part of it. But just the people that I've met, like I could sit here literally and name off 50 people that I did not know a year ago that I
Same.
feel close to.
Right. It's amazing what happens. I think we've
Yeah,
all
that's
gone
why
through a
that-
similar change.
Yeah, just like when you were mentioning that C2E2 in that chat we're in, like all of us, as soon as we seen one person book their room, it was a chain reaction. We were
That was
like,
it.
okay, they did it. We're doing it too. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, the excitement is, yeah. And
You know how excited I
we're
would
going to have
be?
to kidnap you, Gary B. I'm sorry. I
Yes.
apologize to your wife right now. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Gary B.'s boss. It's going to happen.
It's got to happen. Gary B's got to come, because you know how excited I am to actually to sit in a room with you, and not just on a video screen, you know, and to meet DJ Links in person, to meet Remy Q, to meet the Comic Vet, to meet Rob, to meet Taylor. Like I said, Eddie, I could just sit here and name off people, and you know, and to actually get to meet you in person and give you a hug or shake your hand. Like I'm a hugger, but you know, just to get to shake your hand would be huge for me. Like you don't know how excited I got when Rob said he booked the room. I was like, all right, fine, I'm doing it. So I booked a room. I think Slot booked a room, DJ Links booked a room, and then in one of the chats we were doing today, all these people just started booking rooms and flights, and it was crazy.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have a big old meetup. It'll be cool.
Yeah, and we were saying too, if C2E2 doesn't happen, Chicago, look out, maybe, because I'm still going.
Look out, man! We're coming to Chicago. It's on, and like I said, and apparently I'm going to Gary B's too. So
yeah,
I already
All
told
right,
you,
Jimmy.
the wife will make you cookies and banana bread.
I'm down for some banana bread. All right, Jimmy, here we go. You strike me as a, kind of by the book kind of Clark Kent type, if you will, right? And I'm sure, like most of us, you were a bit more of a villain, when you were younger. Tell us about one of your villain moments from your younger days.
God, the list is long and distinguished. Yeah, the list is long and distinguished. I was not the upstanding citizen that I am today. I can assure you. We used to tear it up. I mean, I've alwait's been the guy that worked really hard, right? I've always been that guy. My dad, you grow up where we grow up. That's what you do. You just work hard. It's kind of ingrained in you, and especially with the coal mining community and the coal mining mentality. These guys work hard for a living. And so you were just kind of raised to work that way. And so I always worked really hard, but I played just as hard. I tell everybody, and I'll get back to your question, but just to kind of give some context, I never thought I would get married. I never intended to have kids. I was going to be a bachelor. I had no interest in getting married. I was having too much fun being single, partying it up. And then I met Amy, and that all changed. I would have married her within a month of meeting her, and that's no joke. I would have married her instantly. And now I got my kids. I don't even remember what my life was like before. Now, in my younger days, however, we used to go to Nashville a whole lot. And Nashville, Tennessee is, the honky tonk music city. And I've been thrown out of every bar on Broadway at some point or another. Like, it's a record. We used to say it was a record because we would go down there and tear it down. I mean, that's where all these people would play live music. You go into all these bars and it was fun. You go there and get blind drunk. And then, so I've been tossed out of pretty much every bar in Nashville at one time or another. There was one Christmas, we were in college, and we had went down. It was Christmas break, but we were working, so we went down there. And it was one night, and I stole the Christmas tree out of the Taco Bell. So, and that was the start of that night. I went and took the Christmas tree out of the Taco Bell and ran out the door with it, threw it in the trunk. It was me and a bunch of my buddies, and took that. And then we went on a petty rampage of stealing windshield wiper fluid, newspaper. I stole a newspaper, a Richmond Register newspaper box. That was in our apartment. You remember those old newspaper boxes that we sent out by the road, and you put 50 cents in.
You open it, you take 1 or 10 or however many if you're honest.
Yeah, we had one of those in our apartment in college for 4 years because I took one out of a parking lot somewhere. I don't even remember where it was, but I took it, and we ended up breaking it open, and we got $1.50 out of it, and a couple of newspapers. So that's a couple of my rowdy stories from my younger days. Now, as far as today, I was telling you guys today, and I've been the butt of a joke all day. That is a total inside joke. But when you first asked me that question, I was like, I thought more about business because I am this person. I'm a pretty easy guy to get along with. But I am in business, and I've built a pretty large business. And there are times, the way I describe it is I have to go Lex Luthor on people. And, I will try to work with you. I will try to work around you. I will, do whatever I can not to create a problem. But if I have to, I will 100% run over you. And a lot of people don't realize that about me, and I don't like being that way, but I will 100% do it without hesitation. And that is kind of villainous. At times I've done things I'm not necessarily proud of, but it had to be done to expand my business and get where my business needed to go and to take care of the people that work for me. So I hope that answers your question.
Perfectly. You got to do what you got to do, man, to survive, right?
Yeah. So it's been, over the years, man, I've been going at it now for about 25 years, building this business. And it's, sometimes, man, you just got to be a businessman.
Jimmy Corp.
Yeah.
I got some not so casual stories to share with you sometime, Jimmy.
Oh, good night.
Not so casual stories with Gary B.
I hear a new episode or a new series on Gary B's channel. Not so casual stories. Gary B, the casual comic guy. Just like that. You gotta say it just like that.
Old days. Number 3 for me, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Who on YouTube or in the comics industry would SmallTown Collectibles like to collaborate with? Like any big name you could get and do something with them. Who would be your dream to do it with? Whether it's an artist, whether it's...
I like Scott Snyder. And as a writer, I enjoy his stuff. And if I could have anybody on 10 questions where I could interview him, I would love to talk to that guy. And it would be a completely different conversation, I think, than most people would think, because he is really political. I follow him on Twitter, and he's very liberal. I'd like to ask him some questions about that, because I differ from him in a lot of ways, but I love the way he writes. I love it. And Greg Capullo draws a lot for him. Yeah. And I would like to talk to Capullo too. But that would be one, if I could talk to someone in the community, it would probably be Snyder. I've reached out to him a couple of times and actually asked him if he would come on 10 questions. He's yet to respond, but hopefully as I grow. I also reached out to Method Man and DMC of Run DMC, but they've yet to respond either.
Give me time.
Closed mouth don't get fed, man.
That's right.
Ask, you're not going to get an answer. All right. So my third question, Jimmy. We all know you're a Superman fan. I mean, that's obvious. But if he wasn't an option, what superhero would you be and why?
Slot's going to love this answer, Gary B. I'd be Batman.
Yes!
I was thinking you would say Firestorm.
No, I love Firestorm. As far as a character goes, I love Firestorm. I also love Hawkman. He's my other favorite guy because he's an explorer, and, I find that interesting. But if you're ever asked that, if you could be anybody, who would you want to be? I'd be Batman. If I couldn't be Superman, Batman's a badass dude. I give Slot a hard time about Batman because I'm a Superman fan. But I love Batman. I mean, you're Bruce Wayne, you're rich.
Right.
You're single. And you have the baddest toys ever. You've just got the coolest toys. So I would 100% be Batman.
That's a great answer, Jimmy. I was right with Gary. I thought you were going to say Firestorm.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it would be Batman. Like I said, I give you a hard time, but I love Batman. I read Batman. He's on my pull list. I read Batman every week. I just
obviously you love Batman. You want to interview Scott Snyder and Capullo.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the New 52 run that they wrote is a classic. I mean, that is one of the. It's a great read. And then Snyder's doing Undiscovered Country right now. I love it. Yep. What's the other one? American Vampire. I love it. He did some Swamp Thing. I've read a lot of his stuff. The other one would probably be kind of going back would be Jack Kirby. I would love to meet Jack Kirby. I mean, he's obviously deceased, but I love Jack Kirby. and love his writing and the way he drew too. So
And see, if you chose Iron Man, you could have flown as well.
I could have, but
Batman can
Batman
fly.
has the Batwing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can actually just be in a suit of armor and fly.
Look, somewhere Batman can fly. You could fly. And two, I'm a DC guy, so I'm going straight up DC all the way.
It's a miracle I hooked up with you two.
I know, right? I know, Mr. Conan and Mr. Marvel.
I know, right? It's actually Mrs. Marvel for Gary.
Yeah.
Right.
Well played.
All right, so my number 4 question for you, Jimmy. What are 3 things you want your audience to know about you that they don't already know or that you could share with them?
Oh, number 1.
Besides that, you like to be the little spoon.
Number 1, I am a family man. First and foremost, I'm a family man. My entire life revolves around my wife and my kids. If you know anything about me at all, know that. I would, that's my entire reason for being. It's why I do what I do with work, is because I want my daughters to have the opportunity. I don't care what school they want to go to. If they're a little hillbilly and if they can get into Harvard, they're going to have the chance to go. That's why I do what I do. That's number 1. Number 2, I have a crazy work ethic, and most people probably know that. I know you two know that, but a lot of people, coal mining gets a real bad rap nationally, because of fossil fuels and pollution and things like that. But the people that I was raised by and around were all coal miners, and they were so proud of what they did for a living. And they were proud that they worked hard. They were proud that they fueled America. They were proud that they fueled, the Industrial Revolution with coal, with the steel, when they built steel for the wars, it was all coal fired. So it's real. We identify in Eastern Kentucky as being hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic people. That's what we are. So number 2, know that I work as hard as I can, primarily so that number 1 can have what they need. Number 3, I'm incredibly loyal, to the people that I know and love. I'm incredibly loyal, and just like this group here. And I mean, that's 3, but and 4, once I know you, I love you, and I would take a bullet for you, like the 2 of you. I would do anything for. If Slot called me today and said, "Hey, dude, I'm broke down. I'm in Oregon. You're the only person that can get to me," I would leave right now and drive to Oregon. So those are the 3 things really about me that I guess maybe most people don't know, because you don't get to be kind of that open with who
Right.
you are in your personal life. But those are the 3
Good
things
answer.
that I would probably want people to know.
Yeah, great answer. All right.
What?
Now, this is a question that you had to think about, pre-recording. So let's see if you thought about it. Comic book speculation is a big thing in this community, with all of us, right? It's kind of rampant. What are 3 books that you're specking on that others might not know about?
As far as I do spec some, I sell books, and but it's primarily to fund the hobby, itself. So I just the one thing that I'm really buying a lot of right now, but I'm sure everybody else is too, but I've been buying a lot of, is Something Is Killing the Children. I've been finding every cover I can find, every eBay auction, whatever I can find, I'm picking up copies of that, because I think that is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Someday. I think that's going to be a massive book. The other one, and I told you before we started, Undone by Blood. It's the one that's attached to Norman Reedus. I've been buying a lot of the number 1s of that book. I think once Walking Dead ends, he'll end up, he's attached to that. So I think that's going to be a good book, to own and to have. And then really, as far as just specking, just straight up spec, I was trying to think of a third one, because I don't really buy books necessarily to spec on. I buy books to read, And then if they end up getting hot, I sell them. You know what I mean? Because if it's something I don't really care about, if it ends up going up in price, I'll just sell it and then buy something that I want. I was trying to think, I really think that the Immortal Hulk run that's going on right now, I do pick up a lot of those as well, because I think down the road, because that is a great read. I don't know if you guys are reading that or not, but Ewing is writing that, and it is so good. Like from issue 1, and there's some first appearances in there, and those books hold pretty good value even now. Those early issues do, and so I've been buying a lot of Immortal Hulk too. Just if I see it, I usually pick it up. No matter what it is, if I find it at a different price.
It is a good read. I'm 14 issues into it right now. I started late, but I'm 14 issues into it, and it's awesome. I'm a huge.
I happened to jump on it early, I picked it up, Immortal Hulk first issue, and then started reading. I think as far as like runs, I think that's going to be one of those runs that's sought out down the road. And the other one is the House of X, Power of 10, those X-Men books. And I'm not an X-Men fan at all, but those are really, really good. They're kind of high level, reading. I've picked up a lot of those too over the years. I think down the road, those will be books that people will seek out.
All right. Good answer. Well, one of those for sure, that Undone by Blood you were talking about with Norman Reedus, that's one I didn't even know of. And Norman Reedus he's a great actor, and I think that you're probably right with that.
Yeah.
It was one of the interviews that I did with Southern Comic Geek. He was talking about how books now are written for movies, right? I've picked up quite a bit of Berserker, because Keanu's attached to that, and there's talk that there may be an animated series with Netflix or something like that. That's probably going to be a pretty hot book to pick up as well. So I will pick up random things, but I swear to God, most of the time, I just buy stuff that I think I might find interesting to read.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
If it gets hot, then I'll sell it. I don't care.
Yeah, like the ENIAC, I bought that. Like the Bad Idea books, for instance, I buy them. I thought they were interesting to read. They looked interesting to read, but they're just so damn hard to find, and they're ridiculous in price. So
yeah, really are.
Your turn, Gary.
All right. So my last question for Jimmy. So if you were given first advice to any new YouTuber out there, based off your first year experience, what would you tell them?
Find the usual suspects. Not my usual suspects, but find your own usual suspects. That's day one. Because once we've talked about this before, you kind of fall into this group of people. And somehow I got lucky enough to fall in with you all. And to be able to bounce stuff off you guys, because you guys could probably speak to this as well as I can. Early on, you don't know what to do, right? You're trying to figure out how to be different and to set yourself apart, to do different things. And it's nice to have somebody to talk to that's trying to do the same thing that you are, that you can be, for the lack of a better term, vulnerable with. And, as far as just say, okay, look, this may be stupid, but what do you all think?
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing is, seek it out, network. I mean, it's basic networking skills, right? In business, you're told to network all the time, but it really applies to this because it's just nice to have somebody to talk to, man, about what you're thinking about doing. I remember when Jason said, hey, Rigged, what do you all think about Rigged? It's awesome, and he started kind of explaining the concept to Gary and I, and, I was like, dude, that sounds awesome. And it is. It's so much fun to watch. Last night's episode was great. Gary B and I had a ball.
I took your idea with the final question. Did you see that?
Yeah, and that's perfect. I think it adds to what you're doing. Gary B, Mr. Shoutout King, the godfather of the #GrowTogether movement. That we've talked about that a lot. And Gary B thought of a way to bring it to fruition. So a lot of because I'm not a creative person by nature, I'm very kind of straightforward about what I do, even my channel's that way. But to be able to bounce ideas off people, that to me is find your usual suspects. Because once you do that, the journey becomes a whole lot more fun. And it's just, because you make those friendships, then you have somebody that you can talk to about what you're thinking about doing that can tell you, like Jason and Gary will tell me if something sounds stupid, they'll say that sounds stupid. Like Jason was just saying, I said, hey, dude, maybe you should do the final question different. He was like, oh, yeah, okay, that sounds cool. So he tried it out and it worked. So that, to me, Gary B, that's the first thing you do. Go
Yep.
find
We
your
need to make
usable.
each other laugh at work.
Yes, dude. Look, for people that don't know, my secretary thinks I'm crazy, and because today, Gary, I said something and I said it the wrong way, and Gary B jumped all over it, and I was like spitting my coffee out back there laughing, and Slot was too. He's like, God, I can't
I
breathe
was
right
in
now.
tears. I was literally in tears. If someone would have walked in the room, they would have been like, "What's wrong with you right now?" Oh,
The other
Gary B.
Yeah, it was just killing me, dude. I was just like that. And the other thing too, and I'm interested. I'm gonna interview you all now. I'm interested to know what you all think about this. Like the other thing I would tell you is don't worry about your sub count. Don't worry about anything. Just worry about trying to make cool content that you think is fun. Because at the end of the day, this what we're doing right now, and the friendship that I've gotten with you guys. It's kind of the theme of what I'm saying today. Is the friendships that I've gained through this. That's the deal.
Yep.
That's the journey. That's the deal. The sub count and all that stuff, if I ever get to where I'm monetized, now I am the guy, once I got 100 subs, I was like, well, I'm getting 100,000. I have to now. I have to get it. And that is probably still true for me. But if you are watching this and you are just starting as a YouTuber and this is the deal. The three of us, this is the deal. And all the other people that we've met through this journey, that's the deal. And that's what YouTube and this journey and what you're trying to do should be about. It should be fun. You don't want the hobby to become work or to feel like work.
No.
Just have fun and make some friends, and and just share your passion for comics or collectibles or trading cards, whatever you're into, with the other people out there across the United States and the world, right, dude? We talk to people, and Gary B
All
was
over.
talking to the last video. Where's he from, Gary B? The Vangarian
Austria.
Vigilante, Austria, yeah. So I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
be
think
nice.
about that.
Be nice to people. That's another one, right?
Yeah, be kind. Just be kind. And that is the other thing too, is most everybody's been nice to me so far. Like I've gotten a few negative comments. I get some thumbs downs here and there, and but for the most part, everybody's just been super cool.
Yep. All right. My question 5. You kind of brought this up earlier whenever the other question about who you would hang out with. And I'm a huge music fan, just like you. Comic books, collectibles. But really, all day long, I've got music playing in the background, whether it's on my headphone, whether it's on my it's Alexa now, but it's Samuel now. It's actual Samuel Jackson's voice on my Alexa. It's hilarious. But yeah, I have music all the time, and I'm a huge music fan. And I know you are as well. So what are 5 of your favorite artists or groups?
So number one, hands down, always will be, is Metallica. Okay, I've seen them 20 times in concert. I drove to Atlanta by myself to watch them about 3 years ago. Like I am a massive Metallica fan. Pearl Jam is another that's always on rotation. Always listening to Pearl Jam. Rage Against the Machine is another one. Zach De La Rocha is just one of the best frontmen to ever live. Stone Temple Pilots. Scott Weiland is one of my favorite frontmen outside of James Hetfield. Weiland is probably my favorite frontman of all time. And then NWA.
Nice.
With Ice Cube and Eazy-E, MC Ren, DJ Yella. That was the first album that I listened to that had the sticker on the front of it when I was a kid.
Lyrics.
The explicit
lyrics. And I remember my buddies had it. I started listening to it, and I was like, dude, where are these people from? And it opened my eyes that there was this whole other world out there besides what's in these hills. And besides that, it's just awesome. Like, I got to see Ice Cube perform 2 years ago before COVID at Louder Than Life. Guns N' Roses headlined, and Ice Cube was one of the early acts, and I loved it. And then country wise too, because I like all music. Like I love it all. I love Motown. Like I love Motown music. I like Brooks and Dunn is probably one of my favorite country groups. Travis Tritt are my favorite. Like I'm very eclectic when it comes to music. I like a little bit of everything.
I'm the same exact way. I like hip hop. I like rock and roll. I like classic. I like country. Like Luke Combs. You were talking about Brooks and Dunn. Luke Combs is one of my favorite country singers, and he does a couple of Brooks and Dunn's songs. Like he remade them. He's actually got Brooks and Dunn on one of his songs. So
Brand New Man.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was actually listening on my way to here from Madison's volleyball game. Was listening to Brand New Man, Luke Combs singing Brand New Man by Brooks and Dunn. But yeah, no, look, literally, I love music so much. Like that, music is a big part of my life too. Like I'm like you, I've always got music on, no matter where I'm at. I like old jazz musicians. Like one of my favorite things to do is I go to these big cities. Like when I travel for work sometimes, like I'll go into these cities and I will find like a jazz bar where somebody's playing jazz. And I'm usually the only white dude in the place. And I have a ball. Like I love it. Like I love going, I like live music just in general. Like I like to go listen to bands play. So generally if I'm out traveling, if I'm going to go do something, I might go sit down and listen to a band play. And, but I love pretty much all music.
Yeah, you got some good choices. Eddie Vedder's my favorite.
Whoops, sorry. You could have got that explicit lyrics out of the way early if you were a Prince fan like me. You could have listened to Dirty Mind, Controversy, all that stuff.
Listen, I love Prince too. I mean, I saw Prince in concert.
But I differ from you guys in a little bit. Is I don't care for country. But there's stuff I listen to, and I'm more eclectic than you. I have weird taste. I love EDM. Do you guys know what EDM is?
Mm-hmm.
Electric dance music.
Exact. Yep. And then like drum and bass. You listen to that too, Gary?
Yep. And house music. And there's I also love techno. Chemical Brothers are one of my favorites too. But Dada Life. But a small thing that no one knows about me is I love Romanian pop music.
Really?
So things like Alexander Stan, Ian of Romania, just a whole bunch of artists that I think are just absolutely fantastic. So,
since you like country a little bit, do you ever heard of the Pistol Annies?
I have not.
Do you know who Miranda Lambert is?
I do. Yeah, I love Miranda Lambert.
Has a group called the Pistol Annies. It's her, Ashley Monroe, and this girl named Angelina Presley. Well, Angelina Presley is from my hometown. She grew up, her house where she grew up was right beside my grandmother's. I went to school with her, went to college with her, but she's one of the Pistol Annies. So music here has always been kind of a big deal. We live in Kentucky, and, there's a lot of people from here. Dwight Yoakam's from here, Chris Stapleton, Tyler Childers, Ricky Skaggs, the list goes on and on. Loretta Lynn, like Loretta Lynn, coal miner's daughter, her home place is like 20 minutes from where I live.
Nice.
So there's a lot of music. So music just growing up was something. My uncles used to sit under we called it the patio or the shed out there at my grandmother's house. And they used to sit and pick banjo. My great uncles did, and so it was just always just kind of part of my life. And so music was it's just always been a huge part of who I am. And I've been to 1,000 concerts.
I can see Jimmy playing a washboard.
Well, I'm not real musical. Like, I never really learned to play.
So Jimmy, let's give you a bonus question here. Since you're so big into music, what is your ultimate guilty pleasure song that you don't like to admit to loving, but you have to sing it and you enjoy the hell out of it every time you hear it?
Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
He actually has a really good voice.
Yeah, I actually like Miley's new stuff. Like my girls listen to Miley all the time. I actually like her new stuff. But that song comes on the radio. You know that? I throw my hands up, sing that song.
That's why I started laughing.
That song comes on the radio. I'm 100% singing it, and I have to look around to make sure that nobody's looking. But I will 100% sing every word to that song if it comes on.
Jimmy's in traffic. His window goes up.
Yeah, it's a fact, man. I love that song. I don't know, and I don't want anybody to know, but I've told everybody. So there you go.
There you go. It's out there.
All right. Well, there was 10 questions, right?
Yeah, that was 10. Yeah, that was 10. You guys did a great job.
Yeah,
thank you. You did a great job yourself.
Well, thank you. No, it's 10 questions for those, like I said, it's the 25th episode, and it kind of goes back to what I said, Gary's question, if you're a young YouTuber and you're just trying to get started, this is the deal, dude. Like I said, this is what it's all about. The three of us and the friendship that we've developed, and like I said, with all the others, this is the deal. And 10 Questions is a outlet of that. I've gotten to know so many people in the community on a deeper level, or just by sitting down and interviewing them. And it's really just having a conversation. It's so much fun. Like, I swear, I so look forward to it every week. I cannot wait till I do the interview for 10 Questions. Like, I can't wait. I have fun, doing the questions. And two, like, I've had some big names, dude, on my channel, some of the biggest on my channel that I never dreamed they would say yes, but they did. And that is a testament to the people in this community. And I'll end it like this. I've said it, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. If the world behaved as the comic book community does to one another, it would be such a better place.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I've learned, too, that, Gary B, I've kind of taken from it, is how people treat each other in this community. It's a good gauge of how I want to treat other people in my day-to-day life. And it's just been a totally positive experience for me. And like I said, these two guys, I appreciate them coming on and indulging me and interviewing me. Hopefully everybody out there enjoys it. Of course, guys, I want to give these two guys kind of talk a little bit. This will come out on Thursday. Let them talk about what they're doing. But I want to remind you, which is really important to me, go over to Street Level Hero LA, use that code STC10, and you'll get 10% off your order. 25% of your overall order goes to the American Cancer Society for cancer research. It's very important, and it's gone really, really well, like surprisingly well. So I appreciate the support of everybody out there in the community. So before we sign off, Slot, what do you got coming up this week, brother?
Just your typical unboxing. I've got the collectible swap that we did, the collectible swap 5 that we're all in. My video is dropping the 5th, which isn't actually next week. I got some new comic books, some pickups, and Rob and I are going to be doing Psychics Talk Comics actually on Thursday at 5:30 Pacific time, his channel.
Awesome.
So,
Gary B, what about you, brother?
Tomorrow night, I have an interview with Kenny Caps from Caps on Comics. Super nice guy in the community. I can't wait to sit down and talk with him. Wednesday, I'll have my new comic book day haul. Thursday, I'm sitting down with Yeah Man I Got Comics, Eric Chavez, and interviewing him on my channel.
nice.
I have a Savage Sword of Conan haul to film. Savage Saturday. And then Sunday, it'll be Two Average Guys impromptu recap show with me and my best friend Michael Cologne sitting down and discussing the last episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. And it's been a blast. And then who knows, maybe me, Mike, and you two can get together for a recap show, recapping the whole season.
Yeah, I'm down.
Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Remember, I'll have links down below for Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, and Slotted Up 503. If you're not subbed up to them, go over and sub up to their channel. You will not be disappointed. They both put out great content. If you're not subbed up to me already, hit that sub button, turn on that notification bell. Guys, 10 questions. 25 episodes later. It's hard to believe, but here we are.
Crazy.
Right?
Congratulations, dude.
Have us back on number 50.
I will. No, who else would I have? Right?
Right, the usual suspects. You got to have Ringo, man.
That's right, baby.
And Shemp.
And Lennon.
And
10
Lennon.
questions, guys. Until next time.
Keep it casual.
Slide it on.